Well, the feedback that we continue to receive is quite positive and is encouraging. Uh, so far, the report is that we have successfully connected about 20 schools. You will recall that when we unveiled this program at Ubulinga High in Bergville, we did indicate that there will be 100 schools that will be connected this year in the district of Umzinyati as well as Utugela. So that program is continuing. We are targeting that in just no space of time from now, we should have been completed the program of rollout in these 100 schools. But in the schools where there have been connections already, the feedback is quite positive. The feedback that we get from the learners, from the educators, as well as members of society. It is quite encouraging that we are getting this feedback from the people who have been most disadvantaged. And these are people who are found in rural areas and in townships areas. The history of our country is a history of a divided people. And the apartheid system made sure that the majority of people of our country are condemned to squalor and underdevelopment in rural and township schools. And those areas were deliberately underdeveloped, both in terms of investment of resources, but also the socio-economic development of those areas. Our schools are a reflection of their communities. And to develop a community, you also have to pay more attention in the education of the children of that community. That is why we took a decision that we are going to prioritize rural schools and township schools with this investment. And it is good because it can also work offline where there are network problems. Our province still have challenges of connection in large part of our rural areas. And that's where you find almost 70% of our schools. So when you talk about connectivity, you almost are guaranteed that almost 70% of your schools in the province are not properly connected. Others, there is some form of connection, but it's not in a desired standard, which makes the teaching and learning very difficult because we are moving with time and you can no longer continue to rely on the old methods of teaching and learning. If you are to develop the learners to be of the same quality with their peers across the country and across the world, you also need to help to facilitate the ease of teaching by the educators. Because as we want proper results from schools, we must be also accountable of what investment do we make to our schools to ensure that they are able to produce proper and quality results for our learners. That is why we have said our target will be in the main in the rural schools as well as the township schools. With this feedback that we are getting, it means that we must also try and secure further funding for the further rollout of this program. And it also comes against the background of the program that we launched at Ematungeni Secondary under Iklopo. That one, we launched it under the auspices of Office 365. It cannot work without connectivity, that one. So as we improve, these two systems will be integrated so that we build a solid package of ICT in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. And these facilities help us to even facilitate what we call shared tuition, where you can put one lead educator in a particular school and be connected to a number of schools in the province of KwaZulu-Natal and start running those lessons. Over the past 2 weeks, I've had meetings with the vice chancellors of UKZN and DUT as well as their teams, because we also want to coordinate the assistance that we can get from these tertiary institutions. We want to tap into their expertise. They have specialists. We'll have a professor in science, professor in mathematics, a doctor in that and all of that. And we are saying we wanted to use those expertise so that they can also help to empower our children while they're at the schooling level. We don't want our kids to only start to meet a professor or a doctor, a specialist on a particular subject when they get into universities. We need to start now to expose them of the life that you get when you get into higher learning institutions. And we are quite happy that those meetings were fruitful. We then established task teams that will then deal with the nitty-gritties of this partnership. And soon we'll then be going out into public to unveil the whole package of our partnership with UKZN and that of DUT. So this investment that we make will really open up a number of opportunities, but it will also facilitate fast development of our learners, because now they can be able to do the research on the net. They should be able to be exposed into a situation where they are required to deal with complex challenges and find solutions, and they will be able to develop in the same footing with their peers across the world. We desire a situation where a kid from Nongoma will be able to go and represent South Africa at an international level. A kid from Nkandla go and compete and with his or her peers at an international level. And that will not come only through prayers. We must be very deliberate in investing in the modernized methods of teaching and learning. And we intend to roll this program out together with one of Office 365, the integrated package, throughout the schools of KwaZulu-Natal. We'll also be targeting primary schools, because research shows that when you invest on the development of a child at a very early age, you are bound to get positive results. So we want to expose these learners into the modernized methods of teaching and learning at a very young age. And we'll be doing that through partnerships with various stakeholders in government and in society. Soon we'll be going to Kokstad to launch a program at a primary school level, and we're working with the mayor of Kokstad, Comrade Bheki Mdolo, to start this program at a primary school level. So we are hoping that as we roll out this program, the communities will also play their part in protecting this investment, because we don't want a situation where we invest few days, this investment is stolen. And we call upon the communities to play their role. We are saying to our communities, don't be a market of stolen properties. We're saying to our communities, you must isolate these criminals. Protect the future of your kids. Because when we invest in our schools, we are investing so that your kids are able to be exposed to better ways and modernized ways of teaching and learning, so that they can develop together with their peers. Lolu khuvethe esibhekene nalo lusiphazamisa kakhulu. Isehlo nje sasehla ngenhla singasilindele umhlaba wonke. Manje kusiphazamisile because we had to rechannel imali kwezinye indawo ebesifuna ukuthi siyisebenzise kuzona ukuze sibhekane nalolu khuvethe. Siqinisekise ukuthi othisha nabantwana ezikoleni zethu baphephile. So kunemali eningi ebesizoyisebenzisa ukuqhubeka nezinye inhlelo ze-department okuhlanganisa kona the ICT investment in our school, okuhlanganisa kona ukwakhiwa kwezikole ezintsha, nezinto eziningi esifisa ukuthi sizenze ezikoleni zethu, because we are driven by a desire to make a school a proper place for learners and educators. Now, ngenxa yalolu khuvethe-ke kugcine sesithatha imali kwezinye iy'ndawo ukuze sithenge lezi zinsiza zokuzivikela ey'dingekayo ney'bizayo. Esifisa-ke ukuthi-ke sikwazi ukuba nazo ukuze sivikele impilo kathisha, sivikele impilo yomntwana, sivikele impilo yanombani osebenza ngaphakathi emagcekeni esikole. Inkinga-ke ngalolu khuvethe ukuthi lusenza ukuthi sichithe imali eningi ey'ntweni that are not going to be legacy projects. Sithenga ama-mask, maliphela lolu khuvethe soyayeka ukwagqoka. Sithenga ama-sanitizer, sithenga zonke lezi enye izinto ezi-perishable. Noma zibiza imali enkulu, but in 3 years time, you will not be saying we spend so much money to buy these things because they will have perished. Now, iyona nkinga enkulu esilethelwe lolu khuvethe. Over and above impilo kathisha nempilo yomntwana nawo wonke umuntu osebenza esikoleni. But also, we are trying hard ukuthi while sikulona lolu dungunyana lokhuvethe, we are trying hard to be able to leave some kind of legacy projects. That probably would have taken time ukuthi siwa-establish if there was no COVID-19. So we don't want to really go to complete waste in terms of resources. That is why part of the things that esifuna ukuthi siqhubeke ngazo ngokukhulu ukushesha is to eradicate pit latrines in the province. And this COVID-19 period has put more impetus ekutheni asisebenze ngokukhulu ukushesha uku-eradicate the pit latrines in the province. It's a program that we had already started. But ispeed okufuna sisebenze ngaso njengamanje sifuna lesibe sezingeni eliphezulu. Currently we have deployed chemical toilets in those schools where they were still using pit latrines. And we must say that is a temporal measure, but which is not sustainable. The amount we pay for these chemical toilets, it's an amount that we should be using really to build proper structures. So that is why we are saying, while sinenkinga yazo zonke lezi zinto esiyesibhekene nazo, but after COVID-19 there must be things that we can point out and say we worked with speed to put this thing in our school because we're also dealing with the issue of COVID-19. And one of those things are issues of ablution facilities. The program has started. The report as at 2 weeks ago was that we had completed 300 proper structures, new structures in our schools. 300 schools have benefited in that program of eradicating pit latrines toilets. The target is that by December, we should complete yet another 600 schools where we eradicate pit latrines. In the province, when we were doing the audit, we found that there were about 1,300 schools that still had improper structures, pit latrines toilet, to put it in that language. And we then embarked on a process to eradicate them. But we're now moving with speed because the ones that we have deployed as temporal measures because of this COVID-19 are not sustainable. So we have even taken money from other things to ensure that we speed up the process of these pit latrines toilets. It's unfortunate that we have also experienced indaba yokuphucwa imali by national department, ama-budget cut. And any area affectekile i-area ye-infrastructure. Infrastructure grant has been cut. In total, we have lost over 500 million as a province of KwaZulu-Natal back to national. And that's the money that we will have used to eradicate more pit latrines toilets in the province, as it were. But we'll do with whatever we have. As long as there's commitment and will, there will be areas where we achieve. And we want to plead with our communities that where we have not arrived, we will, at a particular stage, arrive in those areas we are pleading for patience. We know that the issues of infrastructure in our schools are a thorny issue, but we don't believe that they should result into disruptions of schools. We have seen communities closing a school because they are complaining about pollution facilities, they are complaining about fencing and all of those things. So we are pleading with them that let's work together. Let's not disrupt the teaching and learning. Let's work together to attend to these challenges. And some of the challenges that we face now really are as a result of some thugs in communities having stolen this or that in the particular schools. There are schools that were fenced, but the fencing was stolen by some thugs within those community members. I mean, within those communities. So we now have to refence those schools. And it will therefore be unfair for a community to close a school that was fenced, the fence was stolen by the thugs, and then disrupt the school to demand a new fence. So that is why we are saying, let's work together in protecting the future of our kids. And as I said earlier on, we have a will, we have commitment to ensure that we attend to all these problems in our school. Because at the end of the day, as government, we exist to service the people. Department of Education exists in order to facilitate proper education of our people, and everything that we do must respond to that issue of rolling out proper education for our people. That's why we need proper structures. We need both human and capital investments that we need to make into our schools. So this COVID-19, yes, it has disrupted us. It has made us to redirect funds from other projects, but also we are determined to ensure that beyond it, there are things that we can point to say we are now having these legacy projects and they were completed within time as a result of COVID-19. Well, the plight of the learners with special needs across our province is really at the center of our occupation as Department of Education. Because we strongly believe ukuthi abantwana bethu abanokukhubazeka bayafana nabo bonke abanye abantwana. Funa bathole indlela efanayo yokuthi babhekelelwe i-department. Akufanele sibe kwi-situation where bona they are treated as charity cases, in the sense yokuthi funa senze konke okunye then bona siyobabona ngasekugcineni. These are our learners. They deserve our attention. They deserve equal treatment with the rest of other learners. That is why siwumnyango sithathe ne decision yokuthi kube khona okubonakalayo esikwenzela abantwana bethu abanokukhubazeka. That include ukulungisa indawo zabo zokufunda, ikole zabo abakuzona. It include qasha abasebenzi ababalekelelayo because they need extra care as disabled learners. It also includes ukubalekelela with their own transport. That is why as a department last year we bought about 8 buses. Buses that are tailor-made for their needs and not just ordinary buses. And we committed to purchase another 15. And we understand that even this 15 that we are unveiling is not sufficient. So we commit that we're still gonna try and find more funding to ensure that we buy more, but also including other assistive devices such as Braille and other things that, Braille textbooks and other things that they need for their education. I have also said to the ICT unit, they need to investigate what ICT investment that we can deploy to the schools for learners with special needs. Because as we are rolling out this e-learning facility, it is not responding to the needs of our learners who are disabled. So I have said to ICT, they must investigate what other ICT investment we can make, we can deploy to these schools for learners with special needs, so that they are also not left behind and confined into the old methods of teaching and learning. So when we want to modernize ways of teaching and learning, we are speaking about all schools in KwaZulu-Natal, even schools for learners with disability. So the applied is at the center of our occupation, and we want to make a clear message to society that these learners should be accorded the same status like all other learners, even when they are outside the schooling environment. Our communities must play a role in providing extra care, but not charity, not as charity cases. But we understand that they need extra care, but that extra care must come within the context of treating them as human beings, because they are human beings. They are not less human beings because they have one form of disability or the other. They are human beings like all of us. So they need to be treated as such, both within the school environment, but also outside the schooling environment. We'll also be steaming ahead with the program of building full service schools, schools that will have facilities even for disabled learners within the whole schooling system, because we don't want to have separate schools for learners unless really it is specifically desired to have such a special school or separate school for learners with disability. One of the schools that we are going to build is a school for learners with autism. But that will not stop us from building other full service schools and have units of learners with autism and other disabilities within a comprehensive and full service school. So that is why we'll be unveiling the 15 buses, which are also tailor-made for their needs. These are fit for purpose in terms of disability needs. We'll also be employing drivers who will use these buses properly, so that it's just not everyone who's taken from the street and say you can drive this bus. Then 2 hours later we are called that there's an accident that has happened because we got a driver who's not really proper to use these buses. But the message really is that these are our kids, and they will receive the same attentions like all of our kids.